The Arctic is the most rapidly changing ecosystem on the planet. Arctic temperatures are currently warming at more than twice the global average, and the changes occurring in the Arctic are affecting weather patterns worldwide. In response to warming, sea ice is declining, glaciers are melting, ice shelves are collapsing, and coastlines are eroding. Permafrost is melting, releasing vast amounts of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, causing further warming. Vegetation biomass is increasing in many Arctic regions due to higher temperatures and longer growing seasons. In some areas, it's decreasing due to greater frequency of summer drought and wildfire. Ocean primary productivity is increasing because of sea ice loss, resulting in more open water and a longer growing season. Studies project that average Arctic temperature will increase by 8 to 12 degrees Celsius by the end of the century under current emission scenarios. By then, less than 80 years from now, we may not recognize the Canadian Arctic. International scientists, together with Indigenous knowledge holders, have studied and summarized the present status and possible future trends for Arctic plants, animals, fungi, and other organisms in the context of rapid climate change. A key finding of this assessment is that current knowledge of many Arctic species, ecosystems, and their stressors is fragmentary. As a result, detecting and assessing trends and their implications is difficult for many aspects of Arctic biodiversity. The most species-rich groups of Arctic organisms tend to be the ones about which we know the least. They usually consist of small and inconspicuous or microscopic organisms that are difficult to study. They include invertebrates, algae, and mosses and liverworts. Some 5,000 known species of invertebrates, or animals that lack a spinal column, live in terrestrial and freshwater habitats in the Arctic, and many more remain to be discovered. Species-rich groups in the Canadian Arctic include lice, aphids, beetles, flies including mosquitoes, moths, and spiders. Marine invertebrates in the Arctic are associated with sea ice, the water column of the open ocean, and the ocean surface. They include annelids, mollusks, crustaceans, and echinoderms. While we know about 5,000 species, researchers believe that thousands await discovery, in part because huge areas of the ocean are undersampled. Details of life history and general biology of most Arctic invertebrate species are unknown, despite their essential ecosystem roles as pollinators for flowering plants, as food resource for birds, fishes, and other organisms, and as decomposers contributing to nutrient cycling. Algae are a diverse group of mostly microscopic organisms of great ecological importance. They are primary producers who derive energy by absorbing energy from light, they form the base of the Arctic food chain, and they fix large amounts of global carbon. In Arctic marine environments, algae live in the water column, in sea ice, and on surfaces. On land in the Arctic, they live in fresh water, on surfaces like rock, snow, and mud, and in symbiosis with fungi forming lichens. In all their habitats, the rapidly changing Arctic climate is affecting them. Scientists believe that current estimates of Arctic algal biodiversity are a gross underrepresentation of total species diversity, and we have much to learn about their biology. Because of their huge ecological importance for all life on Earth, we must improve our understanding of Arctic algae. Mosses and liverworts are an important and conspicuous component of Arctic biodiversity. These non-flowering plants have the remarkable ability to survive long periods of dehydration and cold and to survive hundreds or thousands of years in a frozen state. These plants occupy the first level of the terrestrial food chain. They affect living conditions for other plants and animals by regulating the temperature, moisture, and chemistry of ecosystems. And yet there are large gaps in our understanding of the biodiversity of Arctic mosses and liverworts in Canada and globally. In all of these understudied groups of Arctic organisms, there are urgent needs to document and understand biodiversity patterns and processes. We require thorough baseline information about Arctic biodiversity to assess and understand change through time driven by climate change and other environmental stressors. Arctic biodiversity must be discovered, described, and classified before we can manage, conserve, and use it sustainably. We need increased sampling and taxonomic effort to advance our knowledge and understanding of the thousands of unknown species that call the Arctic home. We need more research throughout the Arctic to complete the species inventory, to establish more clearly the distribution patterns of Arctic species over time and space and how they're changing, and to understand better the functional role of species within Arctic ecosystems. This baseline information will support evidence-based decision-making about the conservation of Arctic species, ecosystems, and the services they provide to sustain healthy environments for all species, including humans. The Canadian Museum of Nature creates and disseminates knowledge that helps us better understand our rapidly changing planet's past, present, and future. In addition to our ongoing Arctic research programs, we hope to advance research in the coming years that close biodiversity knowledge gaps in multiple poorly known groups, all in support of making the museum's vision of a sustainable future a reality.